to book club number 3 for The Perks of Being a Wallflower. So, Carmen, what did you think of this section of the book?
I found it very enlightening, and I found it, some of the parts were very, some were tragic, some were happy, some were sad, some were angry, which was really, I think it was good to keep us the readers on our toes. So, yeah.
Yeah, I felt like it was also, there was like so many emotions in these last few chapters. Like you could really see like the things that Charlie's going through, like coming to terms with all his friends leaving for college, and then you can kind of see how he like progresses to becoming more confident in himself as well. Like we can kind of see that even at the end of the book, but we'll get into that later. So, first, what did you think about when you found out Charlie's trauma? Like, what did you think about that?
So like his breakdown and his memories, it was very interesting to know that his Aunt Helen sexually abused him when they watched TV on Saturdays. And at first I didn't really understand it, and then I was like, oh wait, then it kind of makes sense. Because he got uncomfortable when anyone would like do those kind of things with him, like Sam and Mary Elizabeth. He'd get like freaked out, and then he had like kind of like trauma memories, and he would break down and he would start crying, and like he got really scared.
Yeah, I felt the same way. Like once I like read the page after what happened with Sam, like it all started to click in my head. Like from seeing how he acted before with Mary Elizabeth, like they would only do stuff from waist up, and then whenever she would try to do anything more, he would kind of not freak out, but he wouldn't like he would feel really uncomfortable. And I was kind of, and then we saw this happen with Sam too. And then I was like, I mean, I didn't think it was. I just thought it was a little strange how he was acting like in a random way. But I was like, okay, maybe he's just like not ready. But then once we finally find out that his aunt had been sexually abusing him and had been touching him in that way, it all started to make sense. And especially when he like talks about his therapist and how his therapist keeps asking him questions about childhood and that they're getting weird. Like, because his therapist was probably asking him questions about his Aunt Helen, like, and trying to figure out what was going on. And we kind of see after he came to terms with it, like, he realized it wasn't in his head and it was actually happening, that he said his therapist questions started to make a lot more sense because he came to actually accept what happened instead of just trying to hide it in his mind.
So, responsibility and guilt, according to my notes. So, the theme in the book about responsibility and guilt and, like, especially blame, it runs throughout the story, especially in how each character copes with their mistakes. Like, maybe Craig, how he cheated on Sam with other girls that they were dating, and then he, like, apologized after, like, before Sam dropped off to college, he apologized, and he's like, oh, I'm sorry about that, and so-and-so. And Charlie also feels irrational guilt for his aunt's death. Quoted, I always thought it was my fault, her being in the car and the accident, even though he had no control over it, you know. And Sam also feels guilty for letting people mistreat her. You can't, quoted, you can't just sit there and put everybody's lives ahead of yours and think that it counts as love. You know, like her being sexually abused and stuff.
I see how Charlie feels really guilty, especially with his aunt's death, because he had told her right before that she was gonna go out and get Charlie his second birthday gift, and he felt guilty because he was saying if he had just been like good with one gift, then she wouldn't have had to go out and then die in such a brutal way. And then we can also see how Sam feels really guilty in a lot of ways, especially. Sorry, I don't know. I don't know. But that was. Okay, hold on. But we can kind of see how Sam kind of tries to tell Charlie he needs to stop putting people in front of himself, and he really needs to put himself first. Like, he can't continue going on just putting everyone's lives in front of his life. Like, that's not a way to live. And we can kind of see how he struggles to do this, and that's why Sam had to really call him out and tell him, you need to stop doing this, and you need to put yourself first. Because he was even doing that with Sam. He was like putting what she wanted first. Like, she asked him that night that they were dancing at the club, like, oh, did you want to kiss me? And he said yes, but I didn't think you wanted me to. And she was saying how that was the problem, that he shouldn't be worrying about what everyone else would want. He should do what he wants, and if she didn't like that, then she could tell him. He shouldn't just assume that she's not gonna like it, you know? And he's kind of like, that kind of helped him come to terms with realizing he should start thinking about what he wants to do, which is what led to them kissing after that, because he was like, I need to stop thinking about my actions. I need to do what I want to do, which in that moment was kiss Sam. And we can also see how Patrick feels really guilty throughout his whole relationship with Brad. But we can kind of see him mature as time goes on, even though he had like after his breakup, he had been going to like parks and trying to get guys. He had been going to clubs. He had been going to a lot of like sketchy places trying to pick up guys, trying to get over him. We can kind of see how he stops doing this as time goes on. He kind of comes to terms with the facts, and he decides to stop letting it affect him as much. Yeah.
Growth and healing. So, how does everyone grow and heal? So, despite the trauma in Charlie's final letter, I guess final one where he says goodbye, it shows a sign of growth and renewal, how he's being a participant and everything. And he was saying how he would, like, Amber in the end one in August, after he gets out of the hospital, he said how he would participate more and I lost my phone. And,
Be like an active participant in life.
yeah. But also he would not write as many letters because he would be busy doing things, you know. So that shows a big part of growth and how he's evolving as a person in his sophomore year.
Yeah, you can really see his growth, especially at the turning point. At the turning point in the novel when he performs as Rocky in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. You can kind of see how after he took on that role of where he really had to expose himself, and he had to wear like nothing but like a tiny gold little Speedo, and he had to be on top of the stage, kind of exposing himself to everyone. It kind of showed, like after that moment, you can really see him start to come out of his shell. He really starts to become more active in his life, and he really tries to take a role as an active participant. And we also see that in his last letter when he's saying he's not so scared to start sophomore year anymore. Like, he's more comfortable himself. He feels like he can get through it. Even without his friends, he feels like he can get through it no matter what. And as you said, as Kermit said, with a letter that he wrote where he said he's going to stop writing so many letters because he's going to try to be more active in his life. I thought it was really nice to see, because even though the ending was kind of ambiguous and we didn't really know what he was going to be doing after that, it was kind of nice because you can really tell that he's really happier. You can kind of tell that he is happier. Like, you can really see the difference in his feelings from how depressed he was in the beginning of the novel towards the end, where he really comes to terms with himself and he becomes such a happier version of himself, you know?
Continue or another one?
What the f-
So, the quotes. In the title of the book. So, by using the title's meaning of a perk of being a wallflower, it's showing like the advantages of being a participant. So, at first he was like, flower. And then towards the end, he was like, flourish, she was up, which is good. Sign of growth and the mental state of being. It's like very unique and signs of like empathy, like what's it called? Yes. He gains a lot of empathy from observing others, and he just feels bad for them. Like I remember when Patrick like kissed Charlie, he felt bad for him, so like he kissed him back. And like he said like to Sam at the end, oh, I was just kissing him because like I was being a good friend, and Sam was like, no. Anyways, that's another thing. According to my notes, he also learns that being a wallflower has limits. It can isolate him from like truly living. Like when he says, "In that moment, I saw you were infinite." The line represents his movement from passive observer to being active participant in life. But in the novel's end, Charlie hasn't fully let his wallflower nature behind, but he learns that the true perk is seeing the balance and understanding others, while also allowing for himself to see.
Yeah, I thought it was really nice because you can really see how him being a wallflower kind of helped him in the beginning because he was really observant. Like, to tie back to the beginning of the novel, not the like kind of towards the beginning when they were having their Christmas party, and Charlie had gotten them all gifts, even though he didn't like they didn't know him that well and they didn't get him gifts, like Mary Elizabeth and I can't remember her name right now, but it was another girl. I think yeah, Alice. It was Alice. Like Mary Elizabeth and Alice and Maria had got them the gifts. And even though they didn't get him a gift, he still felt like he should get them one, to really show his appreciation for being included in this. Hi, so we got cut off earlier, the bell rang, but we're gonna continue our book club now. So, Carmen, what did you think about the ending of the book?
According to my notes, the ending was very bittersweet and heartfelt, but also hopeful. There's a lot of mixed emotions. Charlie's final letter is like full of quiet and optimism, as he writes, quote, "I am here now, and I'm looking for her, and she's so beautiful." It's not a perfect resolution. His trauma isn't like magically gone, but it's a very authentic ending with his emotions, and he's finally present, grounded, and he's ready to start living.
Yeah, I mean, even though the ending was kind of ambiguous and we don't really know like how his sophomore year is gonna go, we kind of get like left hopeful because he even wrote how in his letters he's trying to be more present and active in life, so he's gonna stop writing as many, and it kind of makes you feel happy like to be reading that, to like really see how much he's changed and how much more comfortable he is in himself. And I mean, even though we don't know how it's gonna go, and obviously, I mean, I wish that I could like at least see a little part of his life in the future. I think the ending's really good because it kind of leaves it to your own interpretation. Like how we kind of see now that he's happier. He even wrote himself that, like, not to worry, he's happy now. Like, it's like just nice to see. Like, even though we don't know exactly what he's going through, we at least know that he's happy in in the future, and he's not struggling as much as he has, as he's now come like into being his own self. Um, well, I wanted to talk about also about his relationship with Bill, like especially towards the end, like when Bill invited him to the house and he went. I thought it was really sweet how Bill was like telling him, like telling Charlie thank you for listening, and it was kind of like we could kind of tell that Bill always thought Charlie was more gifted than the rest, even though Charlie didn't notice until Bill really like outright told him, "Why do you think I gave you these assignments? I gave them because you're gifted. Like you have a gift for this." Exactly, like he's saying he was special, but Charlie didn't even notice. He just thought he was just giving him extra work to like do extra work. And I thought it was really sweet how he told Charlie that he can call him, he can text him, he can tell him anything at any time, whatever he needs, if he needs a book, if he needs someone to talk to, like he'll be there for him, which is really sweet.
Going on that note, I remember how Charlie was struggling a lot in the beginning of the book when Michael took his own life, and then it just really surprises me how he evolves as a person, as like a character in this book, writing to an unknown like a receiver, and in one of the letters he said, "Oh, like as he said in the beginning, not sleeping with random people," and then he said, "Oh, thank you for not sleeping with random people," or just stuff like that. And then he also found Sam and Patrick, which is very important for him in his like character like development. And the past doesn't mean forgetting it. It doesn't mean forgetting the past, and like it's just learning how to heal. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like how he's really like came to terms with what happened to him instead of just repressing the memories and the trauma. He really like accepted it, and he's not fully healed, but he's moving forward and he's really taking the step to like better himself and really like just stop being just a person that observes and just be an active participant. Like you can like really see him evolve, and like even tying it back to the Rocky Horror Picture Show when he played Rocky, um, that I really like that point where at the end he just feels so connected with everyone. Like that was really the point where I think he really felt like he belonged with his friend group. Like that exact moment is when he really knew this is where he belonged. And it was just really nice to see how much all of his friends cared for him. especially Sam and Patrick, because they really, since they met him, they really helped him feel included and like he mattered.
Well said. One small last point. The ambiguity makes the ending powerful. We don't know what the future holds in his life for his next few years of high school, but we do know that he's in good hands and he will continue to heal because he's just participating more and feels more confident.
Yeah, I thought that was really nice. Like we can really see how he's healing, and we know that he's participating more. But I just wish I could like see if anything else happened with him and Sam. Like, cause it was kind of like it was just we know like they kissed, and then we know that she kind of like started feeling something for him. But like that's like the one part I really want to know, and then I really want to know if he was like able to make more friends. Anything to add?
Good night.
Thank you for listening.